Hi, I'm going to read Owl Moon by Jane Yolen. The pictures are by John Schoenherr, I think. Hard to pronounce. Owl Moon. It was late one winter night, long past my bedtime, when Pa and I went owling. There was no wind. The trees stood still as giant statues. And the moon was so bright the sky seemed to shine. Somewhere behind us, a train whistle blew, long and low, like a sad, sad song. Looks like they live on a farm. I could hear it through the woolen cap Pa had pulled down over my ears. A farm dog answered the train, and then a second dog joined in. They sang out, trains and dogs, for a real long time. And when their voices faded away, it was as quiet as a dream. We walked on toward the woods, Pa and I. Oh my gosh, look at that. That's a fox. Our feet crunched over the crisp snow, and little gray footprints followed us. Pa made a long shadow, but mine was short and round. I had to run after him every now and then to keep up, and my short, round shadow bumped after me. But I never called out. If you go owling, you have to be quiet. That's what Pa always says. If you go owling, you have to be quiet. I had been waiting to go owling with Pa for a long, long time. It's nighttime, but the moon is so bright that they make shadows. We reached the line of pine trees, black and pointy against the sky, and Pa held up his hand. I stopped right where I was and waited. He looked up, as if searching the stars, as if reading a map up there. The moon made his face into a silver mask. And then he called, hoo hoo, hoo hoo hoo, the sound of a great horned owl. Hoo hoo, hoo hoo hoo. Again he called out, and then again. After each call, he was silent, and for a moment we both listened. But there was no answer. Pa shrugged like that. Pa shrugged and I shrugged. I was not disappointed. My brothers all said, sometimes there's an owl, and sometimes there isn't. I guess when you go owling, sometimes you see an owl, but sometimes you don't. I've never been owling. I'd like to. We walked on. I could feel the cold, as if someone's icy hand was palmed down on my back. Wow, that sounds cold. And my nose and the tops of my cheeks felt cold and hot at the same time. But I never said a word. If you go owling, you have to be quiet and make your own heat. See that? You have to be quiet and make your own heat. We went into the woods. The shadows were the blackest things I had ever seen. They stained the white snow. My mouth felt furry, for the scarf over it was wet and warm. I didn't ask what kinds of things hide behind black trees in the middle of the night. When you go owling, you have to be brave. Look at that. Wow. The woods do look a little scary. Then we came to a clearing in the dark woods. The moon was high above us. It seemed to fit exactly over the center of the clearing, and the snow below it was whiter than the milk in a cereal bowl. I know what that looks like. See that? What a beautiful night. I sighed like that, and Pa held up his hand at the sound. I put my mittens over the scarf over my mouth and listened hard. And then Pa called, hoo hoo, hoo hoo hoo, hoo hoo, hoo hoo hoo. I listened and looked so hard. My ears hurt and my eyes got cloudy with the cold. Pa raised his face to call out again, but before he could open his mouth, an echo came, threading its way through the trees. Hoo hoo, hoo hoo hoo. Pa almost smiled, and then he called back, hoo hoo, hoo hoo hoo, just as if he and the owl were talking about supper, or the woods, or the moon, or the cold. I took my mitten off the scarf, off my mouth, and I almost smiled too. The owl's call came closer from high up in the trees at the edge of the meadow. Nothing in the meadow moved. All of a sudden, an owl shadow, part of the big tree shadow, flew right over us. We watched silently with heat in our mouths, the heat of all those words we had not spoken. The shadow hooted again. Where's the shadow? I can't quite see it. Wow. Pa turned on his big flashlight and caught the owl just as it was landing on a branch. It's right over their heads. Look at that. It's so big. Owls are very big. I think they can be all different sizes. For 1 minute, 3 minutes, maybe even 100 minutes, we stared at one another. Owls are super good at staring. Look at how good at staring this one is. Look at the claws, the talons. Wow. Then the owl pumped its great wings and lifted off the branch. Like a shadow without a sound. It flew back into the forest. Time to go home, Pa said to me. I knew then that I could talk. I could even laugh out loud. But I was a shadow as we walked home. He stayed silent. Isn't that interesting? I wonder why. Maybe because he was thinking about what he had seen. When you go owling, You don't need words or warm or anything but hope. That's what Pa says. The kind of hope that flies on silent wings under a shining owl moon. He's being carried home by his father. The end. Owl Moon. I hope you like that book. Thanks for being with me.